Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking Lance Extra. I'm here to tell you about this game called Gamboni, and as you can probably guess from the name of the game and the whole Gambino crime family, this is a game about organized crime, and the idea is that just recently, the Capo de Cape or whatever the. Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking Lance Extra, here to tell you about a game called Gambino. As you can probably guess from the name Gambino and the whole King of New York theme of this is a game about organized crime, a theme that I really enjoy. I think, obviously, with the number of movies and TV shows and whatever that are out there, people enjoy the theme of organized crime. And, you know, I was a big fan of the show The Sopranos and the Godfather movies, if you will, and I've read lots of books about those things. And so I've always enjoyed games that have this as a theme, and this is no exception whatsoever. This is a game of area control, and it is a game of, well, there's a lot of conflict that goes on with this game, and it is, and this is one of those games that the more players that play, the better. It is a game for 3 to 5 people. I played it with 3 once, and I still had a lot of fun with it, but the games I played with 5, I didn't play with 4, but the games I played with 5 were amazing. There was, everybody at all times was working against each other, attacking each other, just at each other's throats the entire time, and it's one of those games that tells a story. You know, it's like you kind of live it as you play it, and before long, after a couple turns, everybody's trying to do some really bad, like Italian, New Yorkish accent, and failing miserably at it, but everybody's having fun with it, you know, and so let me give you like an overview of the rules. I'm not going to show you a turn-by-turn basis or whatever. This is a game that is pretty easy to learn. It is pretty straightforward, and that's one of the things I liked about it. It doesn't get bogged down with a bunch of rules. The action is very fast and frenetic, but there's more to the game than just the rules, and I'll explain that when we come back to my conclusion. So let me show you how Gambino, which obviously is a crime family, but let me tell you more about Gamboni as far as how the rules work and how the game is played, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you my final thoughts on the game. This is Gamboni, as it's called, the godfather of all board games, and what you see in front of you is a prototype, so I just want to tell you that. Keep that in mind as I show you how to play the game. Functionally, I do believe the game is going to pretty much look what you see here, but, like, obviously we won't have a paper mat, and I do know they have some really cool-looking pawns that they're going to use for each one of the heads of the 5 families, because that's what this pawn is representing. All of those are. That's the capo of the family, and they're going to be moving around the board, taking over areas of control and attacking other people and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to go through a full turn, if you will. I just want to touch base on a few things so you can kind of see how the game is played. Depending on how many players you have, this is the turn order, how many turns it's going to take. Like a short 5-player game, it'll be 5 turns. A normal 5-player game is 7. If you're playing with less players, like with 3, you're going to play up to 10. But if you want to play a real epic long game, you can play a full 12 turns. And I have done that now. It's actually a lot of fun. The whole thing of the game is that you either want to have the most points in respect, power, and money by the end of the game when the turns are, or basically kill off all your competition and so be the only Don that's left, and so you are the only person that controls the board. There are a few things on the board. You'll notice that these are all on these safe houses. Those are like the spots that you're going to be like protecting, most likely. They're like your base of operations, and you'll be using sometimes you'll be using cards like getaway cards. It'll take you back to your safe house in case you are in danger. Your safe house is one of the few places on the board, other than these spots that show green, where you can actually build your illicit businesses. There are 3 different types of businesses that you can have. You can have a pizza shop, a strip club, or a drug lab, and then you have to place them. However, you can't place them willy-nilly on the board. They either go on the green spots, basically, either a safe house or in here in the middle. Now, on your turn, you're going to do several different things. But the main thing that you're going to be doing is you are going to be moving. You're going to be moving your pawn. And you can move normally up to 5 spaces. There's sometimes different things that can affect that. If you own pizza joints, that'll actually add to your movement. Some of the different, one of the different families, they each have a different power. So like one of them is, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them has a bonus of +2 movement. And of course, now I can't find that guy. Here we go. There. So, like, you know, he has a movement of +2 squares because apparently he has a really cool car. And whereas, like, this guy can leave jail one time without having to pay bail. Or, here, I'll show you the other ones too, just quickly. Can buy +2 weapons on your turn. Your own conciliary, so you can normally, like a conciliary, if you're attacked by like the FBI, if you have a conciliary card, they get you out of jail basically because they're a lawyer. And then he is his own lawyer basically. And then +2 hand size. Normally you can only have a certain number of cards in your hand, obviously, and then with that you get a +2. Now these chips that give you these powers, if you're ever like taken out in a combat of capo versus capo, you actually can lose your chip, and that's kind of debilitating. So you might, if that does happen to you, you gotta like hunt down somebody else and take them out so you can take their skill chip, if you will. But anyway, so when you move, like you move 5 spaces, you just, you know, like say like this, we'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. You drop tokens behind you, like so, showing that you're controlling those areas. And the big thing is that you want to try to control all the spots in an area. So that might not be the most optimal move in this situation. You can double back, but you can't end up on the same exact spot that you're already in. So this character can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they'd actually control like all of those spots. And then maybe next turn they'd actually then be able to move those last 3, and then they can control the other 3. Now, why is that important? When you control all the spots in a certain area, you get +2 power. And so you go ahead and you place that over there. And that's one of the things that at the end of the game is worth points. And then you have that and you keep that until somebody takes it. So if the green were to come over here and come here and fight and win, they take over that spot. And then when that did happen, of course we place these here like so. When that happens, then blue would lose those 2 points on that spot. Now, I mentioned fighting. How does fighting work? Well, fighting is pretty simple. Each person will have weapon cards. They start with 2 at the beginning of the game. As they play the game, they get to actually add more. So here's, like, these 2 cards are a gun with 6. And so what happens is the attacker, will like play a card, put it face down in front of them, and not show what it is. And then the defender picks a card and then will play it. And and so it could be something like, like this, like a bulletproof vest, which will protect you against that. And so then the defender would win. And then, of course, if you, as an attacker, if you lose, like, you actually have to go to jail when that happens, which is something bad, of course. You don't want to go to jail. But, like, also somebody could use a better gun, if you will. If you win the battle, obviously, then you take over the spot. And you gain respect for defeating somebody. And, of course, then if you gain respect, you go ahead and you put a token up there in respect. And respect's not so much, well, it's respect, but it's also notoriety. And the reason why that's important is the higher your notoriety is, or respect, if you will, the more costly it is to bail yourself out of jail. If, like, say, Green had, 4 points of respect, and they ended up going to jail, they have to pay bail 5,000 times the number of these that they have, 20,000 in this case, to get bailed out of jail. Now, when you're in jail, you can choose if you have, if you wish. Like some people have, like that get out of jail. Like the blue player has the get out of jail card or token that they can do at once. And but if they want to just skip a turn, you can skip a turn and then leave at the next turn. Now, the big difference if like a capo and a capo fight, let's say like here, like the blue was there, and green moved into the same spot as the capo. Now, this is obviously a bigger deal because this is actually the two heads of the family coming to blows. And if you succeed in hitting or whacking, if you will, the defender. The defender, in the same deal, you play cards and you turn one over, goes to the hospital and they lose one of their life points. It's over here. If you notice they only have 2, if you lose 2 and you get hit again, you're done. You're out, and you've been beaten and you're kicked out of the game. So this does have player elimination. So once you get sent to the hospital a couple times, you will find yourself getting a little more safe, if you will, or not taking as many chances. Not wanting to put yourself out there because you don't want to get that third strike and you're out type of thing going on. So, the hospital is just like you think. Next turn, you just get to move out, but you do end up going to the hospital, which could lead to some things going on that make people kind of wait for you, or maybe it's bad that if you go there. So you end up using different ways to move, like a getaway card or something like that, to take you away. It should be noted that when you do fight, as the defender, you have the option of just surrendering and just saying, okay, I'm done. And, and the thing is, when you do that, then you lose respect, just like as if you had lost the battle, but you don't then obviously get hurt. You can't get shot. Now, you'll notice that these spots that have the gang, and I want to touch on all these different spots that are on the board. This says gang on here. You can use the gangs. There are these spots on the board that say gang on them, and you can use the gangs to attack other players. And the reason why you want to do this, you have to pay them $5,000 per card that you draw out of the weapon deck, and they would just take $5,000 up to 3. So you pay them $15,000, and the money you spend, if you pay them $15,000, let's say we pay them, it goes right into this gang cash reservoir, if you will. And so then you would take the top 3 cards from the weapon deck, and then you get to pick which one you use, and obviously we'd probably use the minigun if we attacked. I'm going to show you this really quick. You notice that there's a bat here. If someone plays a bulletproof vest, the bat doesn't work. It works against the bulletproof vest because obviously you're bashing somebody's head in. You're not trying to shoot them. That's one of those cool things. But anyway, so so you'd use that, and then the cool thing about using a gang to attack is that if you lose, you don't have to go to jail, because it isn't you. You hired this gang to go and do it. Now, on your turn, if you move on to, say, red goes here and moves onto the spot with the gang, they can attack the gang and if they win, they take all the money. And the gang gets 1 card off the top of the deck, as normal. And then you play a card, and try to hopefully, beat the gang, if you will. And then if you do, then you win all the money that they have. Which, in this game, money is very important because money is used to purchase weapons and to purchase businesses. Now, purchasing weapon cards is just like how you'd think. You get when you get to the purchase phase of your turn, you get to take up to 3 cards unless you have something like the special power that allows you to buy more for every case. But you can also, instead of buying weapons, you can choose to buy businesses, and these are just like as I said before. So if you buy a business, notice how there's a little green A down there. So say this character owned these areas here. He would take the green A and place it like that. And so you know that he owns this pizza company. Now, to protect the pizza company, you can actually take one of your weapon cards and place it underneath the business. Because once a business is placed on the board, it can be attacked and it can be taken from you. But if you have a weapon that's like you have an enforcer, that's and so you keep that card in front of you. If somebody moves onto that spot to try to take it, then you have a defender sitting there. You don't have to, just worry about the fact that you're just going to lose a business. You have to stand there protected. You've placed a weapon there. You placed an enforcer that will guard that spot for you. Obviously, you don't want to lose, your businesses, because that's how you get your income. You either get $2,000 if you control an entire area when you collect your income, or you get the money, you know, from the different spots you have. I want to show you something with the drug lab. Obviously, the drug labs are really good, you know, because they earn a lot of money. You know, it's like 6, 14, 24, or 50,000 if you have all 4. And you gain respect for having it. That's notoriety. You're selling drugs, so it's important. But also, when you buy one, you get a +1 penalty chip. And the penalty chips just go directly on... Let me find one here. Okay, so like this is a penalty chip. They go directly on your face like that, showing that you are like you've got a target on you. You know, because you're drawing heat to you. You get penalty chips for either buying the drug dens, if you will, and you get them if you rat people out to the FBI. And if you rat people out to the FBI, you get not 1 but 2 of those chips, and you place it on there. Now, why are those important? If somebody is able to take you out and kill you, you know, and just one of your many things, or not kill you for like the 3rd time, but like just take you out one of those times, they get to cash in that hit that's on you. And so if you take risky moves or whatever, you might have to deal with that situation. So, you know, and this is important because each of these is worth $25,000. One of the things that you can do is when you have excess cash at the end of your turn, what you will do is you can take up to $25,000 and you can place it in your money spot over here. And the more money, and that's another way you have points. It's going to be one of the 3 things Jimmy rated on the end of the game. You either get that, you can turn these, if you take somebody out that has a penalty on them, you can immediately turn those chips into that or take the cash. Also, then in a turn, you can go ahead and place it in there. Unlike respect, which you can lose for losing battles, and power, which you can lose by losing areas that you control, once you put the money in here, it can't be taken from you, which is important because if a capo and a capo fight, the person, if you beat the person, if you attack them and beat them, you get all of their money that they have on hand, but you can't take the money they've already stacked away. That's like in like Swiss bank accounts, if you will, or whatever. So there's a couple other spots I just want to, actually 3 I think, that I want to show you still. You'll notice that there's these armored limousines. When you go onto that spot, you can choose to have it take you to another spot on the board. It's just kind of like a free travel. There's also one here in the middle. I already told you about the FBI. When you go to the FBI, you can choose to snitch to the FBI, and what you will do is you will draw an FBI card. You also get 25 grand for snitching. It should be mentioned that you can snitch when you're in jail as well. It gets you out of jail immediately, but you don't get the $25,000 because you're ratting somebody out to do it. And of course, when you snitch, like I said, you get that penalty because you're a rat. So you draw a card from the jail. And like you have a thing here, DEA raid, bust all the drug labs from 1 opponent. And so you could play this on somebody that has a bunch of drug labs. They go to jail because they got busted, which stinks. Plus, they lose all those businesses, and they go back, and people have to rebuy them and replace them on the board. And like, notice how it says that you can stop that with a conciliary. Now, it isn't just the businesses that can get raided. You know, it's like you can do like a rat. FBI seizes all cash and businesses for 1 opponent. That's huge, obviously. Like an IRS audit just takes all the cash they have. And also you can have an ATF raid, which is really good if you get that one because all weapons from 1 opponent goes back to the stack. If you can rat somebody out and have that happen to them and then attack them, they don't have any cards. And so you have free reign to like run rampant through their territory or even attack their capo if you're lucky enough to pull that off. So the other thing is that there is actually the commission, which is right here. And when you go through the commission spot, the commission, which is just the idea of this like ruling group of this organized crime, you get to draw a card. And some of the cards will have a secret assignment, like this says. Attack any opponent with a machete, and then you show the card afterwards. You get 2 respect points, $10,000, and 2 weapon cards. And so you just have that, you can turn it in. However, some of them, it just says, say forget about it and take 15 grand from the bank. So you play it immediately. And so the commission is just kind of like one of those things where it's a random event, but you know, sometimes it just helps you out and you're able to get a little special power or get a little bonus, if you will, or like as I said, a secret mission that allows you to bend the rules a bit. And it's just, and it should be noted that you can't like go to the FBI or the commission multiple times. You can't like go back and forth during your turn and get to use multiple cards. So there you go. I mean, like I said, each person takes a turn, and that's a round, and you keep going. You go through that process of the game, having lots of these battles for the different spots. Once you get to the very end, you total up whoever has like the most points in respect, power, and money, and and also the ones that are dead obviously don't get to count anything out at that point. And whoever has the most points at that point is made the winner of the game. So, this is one of those like area control games that doesn't take a long time for people to really be going at it and start smashing each other's teeth in, which is something I've always liked about these games. And this also is a game that has the game beyond the game as far as negotiation and things like that. But I'll touch more on that in my conclusion, which I'll do right now. Alright, thank you very much for watching me do that. So I hope you understand, or at least have a pretty good idea of how the game is played. I do know that if you want a further like kind of turn-by-turn basis, I do know that the creators of the game have actually put some videos up that actually do show like an entire game in progress. Like you can actually watch the game, and show the different moves and everything like that. They did a really good job with that. So you can definitely check that out if you will. So I mentioned both in the introduction and during the explanation of how the game is played, that the game beyond the game. Now, the game by itself is a lot of fun. I like the whole idea of moving my pawn around and kind of taking over areas as I move, and so you kind of program your movement. And I really like the fact that, like, everything in the game has a purpose. You might say, why would I take pizza places? They're it's like, well, yeah, they don't make as much money, but they add to movement. Which is important. Or, why would I snitch out to the FBI? I don't want people trying to come after me. Well, switching to the FBI, if you get a good card, is like amazing. You can totally crush somebody without actually having to worry about like putting yourself at risk, technically. I mean, yes, you will undoubtedly make some enemies at the table, but even people that aren't your enemies are going to be looking at you and saying, I really want that $50,000 that guy's worth. But it's a great way to, like, somebody, if they have a stranglehold and they seem to be in an untenable position, to really take them down and knock them down a few feet, and so you have a chance to, like, put yourself into a place to win. The really cool thing about the game is that your victory points aren't static. It isn't, other than the money. I mean, the power and the respect, you can gain or lose that as the game continues, and so it isn't something where it's like, oh, well, you got off to a great start and now there's no way I can beat you. No, you don't have that situation. You definitely have the ability to be able to knock somebody down at any given time. Now, the game beyond the game that I was referencing is the negotiation part of this game. And this is one of those games where the whole thing is kind of open. And it is up to the players to kind of, decide what they want. Now, when we play the game, we say anything goes. I mean, it's just like, give me $20,000 and give me a really good weapon card, so I can fight this guy, or like, showing somebody the card that you have, and like you have that minigun, and you say, oh, well, if you don't just give me that, give me the business, I'll use this and I'll take you out. And then the person's like, oh, well, screw you. I got a bulletproof vest. Then you turn around, you have the baseball bat, and so you still beat them. And so it's like, there's this weird, like, negotiation. And plus, there is actually rules for having two people join together. It's called kissing the pinky ring. And I didn't touch on that during the game, and I apologize during the overview. But if two players decide to work together, they can decide to do that and then work towards a common victory. And you lose some initial respect for doing it. You lose through respect, each of you, because you're kind of seen as a little bit weak, or because you're combining forces. But at that point, then you can work together and you can't fight each other, and you can actually then, like, maybe have an area where you don't have to worry about somebody coming up and attacking you. Now, if you offer like saying, let's combine together, and that person refuses, you enter in what's called a vendetta, and then that's the only person you can fight for like the rest of the game. So you have to be very, very sure of what you're doing as far as like offering that as a truce, you know, and that's good though, because, and that's, I mean, that is one way that like the game is like an official truce, but there are tons of other times when you're playing the game where it's just you saying, look, just don't attack me for like 2 or 3 turns and like leave me alone, and I'll leave you alone, and let's just worry about the other guys, you know, and that's a completely viable option. And of course the person can backstab you at the first possible chance, but you know, that is part of that fluid moment of the game where you can kind of learn to who you can trust and who you can't, and recognizing that there can be only one winner, but there is always a good time where, like, you know, being able to focus yourself on 1 or 2 people and not having to worry about 1 or 2 people is a very good option to have when this game, when any kind of game with open conflict is concerned. I mean, as far as why do I like the game, this game is just going to be one of those games that I knew I was going to like. I enjoy games that cause people to get animated. I enjoy games that cause people to get like excited and swear vengeance on people, and I do love the whole wheeling and dealing that goes on, even though I seem to always end up on the short end of the stick of that. It seems like the rest of the group is always like, let's all gang together and get Lance, you know, and for whatever reason, I mean, this is the kind of game that my buddy Craig, within like the first turn of the game, he's asking somebody, it's like, hey, how about you and I get together and we can go ahead and take out Lance and get him knocked out of the game right away. And I'm always like, we haven't even played a turn of the game, and you're already, like, making a truce, you know? And, yeah, I can always count on that to happen. It's very infuriating, but it's also very fun. I'm laughing as I'm telling you the story. So, if you like games of area control, and you like games based on mobsters and gangsters, I think you're really going to like this game. I think, you know, if you're just kind of on the fence or whatever, if you're like just like gangster stuff, I think you're gonna really like this, because like I said, all the rules kind of fit, you know, in place. I mean, they make sense, you know. And you know, like having, you know, you having the pizza joints, you have more, you can move faster. Well, you're eating more, you know, you have more energy. I mean, but the things about like, I really like the FBI carts. I really like the commission, if you will. But and if you like area control games, you're just, I mean, it's kind of a very simplified, very straightforward way to handle area control. It isn't something where it's like, okay, I own 4 and you own 6, but I have a domination value of 3. You know, no, it's just move the guy around and put your poker chips down, and it's one of those things where, to quote Scott Nicholson, the game doesn't take a long time to get to the fun. After the first turn of the game, you're already most likely had a few battles with somebody, and you're already like plotting your revenge, or like worried about covering your back because you've jumped out to a positive lead and you know the other people are going to be coming for you. And so that's one of those things that it provides a fun atmosphere for the game. It tells a story as you play, and win or lose at the end, you've had a heck of an experience, and you've had a heck of a good time as well. So there you go. That is Gamboni. If you have any questions about the game, please let me know. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.